do? Let's say from Kimani Wamatangi.
Well, Dibal, maybe first to pick it up from what the people from the village of Otiendo were saying. Because you need I saw one on, and it was actually on TV, and he was asking if you have taken two glasses of whiskey, can you contract corona? now that sanitizers are supposed to be alcohol-based.
Yes.
So you know, and of course, as he said, it is making a joke of a serious situation. But some of the facts that I think we need to discuss, Dibal, as we look at how do we manage this scourge. On one of the pages that you spoke about in the Standard, that's on page 10.
Page 10 of the Standard. Mm-hmm.
On the WHO guidelines on how to manage the pandemic. You see, there is one guideline that they have given there on the prevention, and noteworthy in this is that WHO says that it will take probably as long as 18 months to come up with a vaccine against this. And also, so what are we looking at? And I was just raising that one so that when we are giving our own homemade solutions and proposals as to how to adjust, we have this kind of thought in mind, that this is a situation that we need to manage for the next maybe 18 months, if not more. And so when we say, for example, like Otiendo was saying that in transport, we've said let public transport vehicles be sanitized, be disinfected after maybe 1 or 2 rounds. Then shouldn't we indeed then make a complete, probably I would call it a complete procedure that will be used to ensure that this is what happens at all times. You know, yesterday, Dibal, I tried to help a few people myself on Langata Road. And I got some of my guys to buy these pumps that you put at the back. We put the disinfectants, and we were calling in people, and we were telling them, you know, you can just alight, and we help you to disinfect your vehicle inside. And I'll take a video and I'll send you. And part of the concerns, which is interesting, of some of the people is when we went to disinfect, one of them was asking, let me see the color of the disinfectant. because if it is this one that is looking like it is yellowish, and you know, of course, Dettol is yellow or whatever, then it will mess my seats. And, you know, I think we need to take this seriously. One of the questions that I would want to be asking Dibal is this. The other day, the government said that as a result of coronavirus, the prices of fuel are falling. I don't know whether you picked that. And we'll be asking ourselves, when we say that reduce the number of people that we have in a matatu, then what effect, for example, will it have? Because definitely the next question you'll be hearing from operators is, you tell us to ferry 6 passengers in a 14-seater, then that means you have to raise the price. If you're traveling from Kisumu to Nairobi, then you have to be six of us. Then the operator will say, I'll have to charge you more. I think there has to be a lot more intervention, including legislation and authoritative, we would not call them decrees, but direction. So that people can be guided clearly on how they are going to address such situations.
But I thought maybe also looking at what is on the front page of a Standard, that will have been what we're really talking about, and what I was suggesting, that we should have a bit of a, you know, a stimulus package from the government as it is, you know. Tax,
absolutely, but
interventions,
you know, government may not necessarily be able to address all of them via either stimulus or incentives, but I think guidelines will do much more. And the other area that I think we need to sensitize our people on is on the conduct of what position are churches now going to take, and mosques. Now, because we've spoken about schools have been ordered closed. We have said now, okay, fine, if it is workplaces, there was encouragement. If it is government, where possible, let your people work from home. Indeed, from the look of things, that is where we are headed, in ensuring that there is more immobility and discouragement of physical interactions and unnecessary movements. That's why, and that's on the incline. But one of the areas that we have not been bold enough to address, and I think this call and the buck will stop with the leaders of our religious, our churches, is how are they going now to put their foot down? You remember on Sunday, most of the churches put sanitizers outside their entrances, and people are sanitizing. But you still go together and sit in pews together next to one another at less than a meter.
But I think there has been an intervention regarding the public gathering, and also that is including the churches as well, moving forward.
Well, we're looking at what happened on Sunday. And,
what happened on Sunday?
And the proclamation itself by church leaders, just as boldly as the judiciary has said that let us suspend judicial sittings, just as government has said, let us close schools. I think, although we might not be saying close churches, the church leadership must come with more radical measures. Maybe, for example, we have many churches with huge compounds, maybe pitch tents, which are spacious, and place those seats at a meter away from each other, and make this the way that people are going to worship. For example, on Sundays. But I think...
but I think we are past that junction, aren't we? Right? Because there will be no gatherings of churches, as I'm given to understand. Right?
Well, you know, that's what we are given to understand, for that matter. But between me and you, when we saw what happened in churches on Sunday, and maybe you could take a survey in some of the churches that hold interweek sessions, including maybe here at the Basilica. And of course, I don't want to continue mentioning names, but maybe look at maybe like the Basilica in the morning and see if people will not go there. And that's what I'm saying, that gathering
after the Sunday services we had, you know, on Sunday, we had the president also coming very forthrightly, giving the press statement on public gatherings, right?
Can I
that was inclusive, yeah?
And explain why Wamatangi is right. Mm-hmm. I think the point Senator Wamatangi is trying to make is a good one. Because technically, church and state are separate. And there's an extent to which even the president cannot direct what happens inside the church. Okay? So despite all those directives, the president's utterances and all these public health measures will have proper effect if we have commensurate intervention by the church leadership. And therefore, the point Senator Wamatangi is making is right, because the church leadership, given their own practices and given what needs to be done, should now come out with guidelines, you know, the kind of guidelines that sometimes the church issues from time to time to guide the flock and to guide the, you know, the priests. One of them, and I think Senator Wamatangi has spoken to this, is to encourage a situation where churches don't get congested and people sit the way they sit, elbow to elbow. And consider a situation where if you must have only minimum gathering in church, and then pitch tents outside, pitch screens, so that people can sit afar apart, and if they must attend church physically, let them attend it safely. Secondly, encourage people to, you know, to do live transmission of church services. It is okay to have a priest in a church being covered live, and all the faithfuls are following, you know, solemnly from the safety of their sitting rooms. I am sure God will understand such interventions in these very disparate times. Thirdly, and I'm Catholic, and as a Catholic, there's the sanctity of the Holy Sacrament. And so when you go there and you have not recently sinned, then you are entitled to receive that Holy Sacrament. Given the transmission methodologies, the idea of somebody picking the Holy Sacraments and giving it to you using their bare hands is something that must be discouraged. So there are all these measures that should be considered. even in terms of church.
Right. Thank
Yes.
you.
And Dibal, if I could just finish that point, but maybe you're not a staunch church goer, so you may not be able to relate to it.
I'm a staunch church goer. Yeah?
But even if you listen to what the president said, he was very specific. Schools will close, and of course they did, and boarding schools. But when people are very reluctant to directly address the issues of church, including telling worshippers now you may go and worship at home or follow at home because of the reverence with which we hold our faith with. And I think that's why I was saying, I think we have to be bold enough. I know some of the churches, including, I had a conversation with my bishop, and we discussed, and he told me that we have taken such measures, including what Otiende Amolo is saying, ensuring that Holy Communion would not be taken ordinarily. Dibal, if one of the stories that you aired there of that star who is now in self-quarantine, tells a big story, because see, he refers to an event he attended with the Canadian PM, and I was just referring to that so that our viewers can understand the rate and speed and high contagion of this disease, such that and remember this Prime Minister when she went back to Canada, and then it was declared that she tested positive. The husband went into self-quarantine. But you can imagine, just by attending the same event, that's, I think, I didn't get the name.
Elba.
Yeah. That he contracted it. So when we are talking about this issue of gathering and the seriousness with which our people need to take it, I think it is important. I was also interested when I saw you ran many names of so many able people, like Bill Gates, and names of
Jack Ma,
Jack Ma, and so on. And I was wondering, around here locally, have we had a single Kenyan of means saying that they're going to donate even sanitizers? We are saying government gives sanitizers free, and now on our own local television, we are hailing Bill Gates, Jack Ma, and Airbnb CEO. Our own people should also come out, Dibal, and help to fight this scourge. I believe verily, as a country, we are going to win this war. Those are my thoughts, Dibal. But this war is going to take effort. It's going to take determination. It's going to take our own decisiveness that we have to fight this scourge. I know I got a lot of messages actually from the school where my daughter goes, that parents now are jammed there collecting their children. Most of these guidelines on how we need to deal with the situation and how we need to manage, especially our children when they're at home, I think they're important. And the papers today have done a good job, let me say so, including The Nation. You've run quite a good number of informative stories, media, guidelines, and so on, to show how our people should conduct themselves at the bar.
Right. Thank you. So we shall come back to you, and we have callers who are hanging on the line, and we want to hear from them as well if they have questions or contributions, and then we shall also take that to
maybe Dibal, just before you go away, one of the questions that maybe you would want to answer so that our viewers can be clear. There's been this information on fact as to how many hours does this virus, for example, if you come into contact with it with your hands on your garment, how long does it last?
Right. Shall we hold it?